Welcome back. Welcome back, Las Vegas and SMITE 2 fans all around the world to the SMITE 2 Founder Series. We have already gotten ourselves one team into the grand finals. That is Team Risk from EMEA. I know the 5Ms fans here. Don't worry, got some time to sit back, recuperate. They're gonna need your energy later on to get into the grand finals. They'll play one more match at least here today. But before we get there, we gotta find out who their opponents are. We got another NA versus EMEA matchup. And it's two teams that have already lost to the two teams that are still in the tournament. Food Drive for Globe, your first team to the stage, hoping for some retribution against 5Ms later on. Their date with destiny a little bit shorter on the other side of this matchup, hoping to get a second chance at Team Risk. Please welcome Smoke Break. The big question is Benko in the suit gonna be the difference maker? He got his luggage, he got the suit on, and we know that Benko in a suit is really, really scary to play against. All right, Gormizer, Desk, let's kick it off.
Thank you so much, Dave, and welcome again back to everyone. SMITE 2 Founders Series here in the HyperX Arena, Las Vegas. It has been incredibly fun, and joining me for this desk, it's gonna be a real treat. I got Lermy and Aggro sitting by, and the reason I wanted, because I was like, oh, do I do my ad read first or should I rope you in? But this one it kind of involve you both, because I'm sure you're both like incredibly ecstatic right now that SMITE 2 is free to play. Like, it's out. You can just go play it wherever you want.
It's been a long time coming, SMITE fans. I mean, at this point, about 12 whole years of it, and I am just so happy to be able to finally be able to bring this game to play with all of you guys, all of my friends also hopping back in as well now that it's free to play, and so many more gods at your disposal as well.
Nearing that 50 mark, we're real close, and it's been a grind to get here for sure, but we're excited and obviously very honored with the reception that it's gotten from the community, and hope that everyone continues to play and enjoy.
I know it's, you know, and we saw it a little bit in that video where people were saying, like, you know what, like, we can see the direction it's headed in. Yeah. And it's like, you just very much like knocking an arrow, right? Like, you know where it's going to go. You just got to get the tension there. The tension's been there. They have been, I mean, it has been like incredible. I walked in at one point when Aggro was down for the last land and you were like pulling your hair out trying to get something to work. And it was just for that final push. And that's, I mean, but that's the kind of thing, like, everybody's been doing that level of work and that level of grind to get the game feeling the best that it possibly can, and that's where it's at. So please do check it out again, free on any of your gaming platforms that you want to go. Check out some SMITE 2, learn about aspects, the different item changes, learn the map changes, play some Assault. I mean, there's so much you can
Joust,
jump in.
Duel.
Well, okay, well, I mean, those
Aladdin.
are there, but like,
Come on.
it's me.
I'm with you, Gore. I'm with you.
If that's your preferred mode,
Enjoy.
You will not be seeing me. What you will be seeing is the bracket as we look again at where we are at here in the Founder Series. Team Risk, they are probably going to be watching a lot of today's games with rapt interest because somebody that's playing is going to meet them in the grand finals, but they don't play again until tomorrow. They get to relax in some regards. Smoke Break, Food Drive, that's what we're about to see. Just saw them into the stage. 5Ms patiently waiting to see who is going to join them. And those are the only things left for us today. Again, we're looking at it 2 best of 3s now that we've gone through, and realistically, holy, if we were going through best of 5s and they were anything like last one, we need 4 more days
Seriously.
in the venue. Yeah, no, best of 3s that we're going to be moving forward with. Smoke Break versus Food Drive. I'm really excited to see this one. And then again, right after that one, we'll take the break, we'll come back to the desk, we'll do some yapping, we'll get into the game, and then you'll see whoever wins this taking on 5Ms. And then tomorrow, there's a nice little Titan talk going on as things start off, so it's going to be a really fun Sunday as well. Of course, with all the Twitch drops that are going on as well, so just make sure you're staying around as we move forward. Instead of focusing on that stuff, though, I'll hone in the 2 teams that we have coming in. And Aggro, this one's, I think, really interesting to me because, Smoke Break for a long time was kind of getting smacked down in EMEA.
Yeah.
And then they showed up, and I even remember talking to Benko at one point. He was kind of surprised they showed up. But that seems to be some of their strength, is coming in and figuring things out, hands-on.
Exactly. And now that they're here, now that they're back where they're typically at in LAN and competing, they look just like their old selves, right? I mean, Benko and Johnny on the right-hand side of the map is a win condition every single game that you load into the map. But it's been El Leon and what he's done to that dual lane alongside Echrome, and has allowed kind of Sap to really flourish. I think that Sap and his emergence as a top mid laner, particularly when he's on the Hecate, is something that has really been a huge boon for Smoke Break.
I know another thing, and this is always really fun because we could yap for days already, just the 3 of us. So why not add 2 more people? The casters, I know Jorby and Inbound, you're sitting around in the venue. I know you're probably waiting for this one. How are you guys feeling before the set?
I mean, honestly, following up that last set is definitely a tough one.
Difficult.
But I'm kind of high energy afterwards. Like that game 4 was nuts.
Falling out of your seat,
But
right?
I'm just excited to see. I did fall out of my seat. It was incredible.
It was beautiful.
Yeah, thank you.
Graceful.
But I'm just excited to see more Valor jungle. That's what I'm here for.
And I want to see.
Did he fall out of his seat for real?
I have no idea. I
okay. I thought
the stage.
The way you guys are saying that.
If a tree falls in the forest, if a Jorby falls off his chair.
I have heard that second one.
Yeah,
yes.
this isn't a bit aggro. He fell out of his chair.
Okay, thank you. That's what I wanted, Bobby. Thanks.
It was a bit.
Okay.
But going towards the dual lane, I think I want to see a little bit from El Leon here, and I want to see a little bit from Echrome. I think they had a pretty lackluster first day. Aggro pointed it out. I think Sap played very, very well. And Benko and Johnny are ever reliable. I think I just need to see them step up just a little bit.
Well, it's funny, you talk about Echrome, but Tegveer on the other side, I feel like has taken the next step on LAN. He's played some of the best Smite that we've seen him play on LAN so far, and I'm excited to see more of that. This Food Drive team, they're sneaky good. I mean, I just want to see what else they have in the tank.
Yeah, no, I really do think that this is going to be head to toe, just a fantastic set. But realistically, and I said this is why I put my one poker chip on Smoke Break, which is because when they get lower bracket, especially now that Benko's got a suit, that is admittedly, had I known yesterday, it might have changed some of my opinions. But it is genuinely this is a team Inbound that when they are backs against the wall, they really do fight back, viciously.
Yeah, there is the legend of lower bracket Benko, and it's true. You put his back against the wall, his teams level up, he levels up, and I think they're going to need to not only just to win this set, but I mean 5Ms also looks great, and that's what they have to look forward to next. I mean, it's a crash course, it looks like, for Team Risk and 5Ms. These teams both need to step up if they want to disrupt that.
Yeah, I know.
I got another follow up on that. Smart guy.
There you go. I mean, I was waiting to see if you had anything. Well, I'll say thank you guys. Save your voices, right? Be prepared. Smoke Break and Food Drive, right? You're going to need it. The energy in the crowd has been absolutely electric all day so far. And of course, that's just from one set. We haven't even gotten set 2, let alone looking forward towards set 3. But before we get into this, I believe we got to talk to both of these teams, at least hear a little bit from both of these teams. So combined, we've got a Smoke Break and Food Drive interview video for you to enjoy.
One big thing I want to ask you, it's kind of been a common trend today as you've been hearing some of the questions. When you look at the other side, when you look at Smoke Break, is there a player, is there maybe a lane that you guys are focused in on, you're worried about, or you guys just easy sailing?
Earlier, Leon said that he's here in Vegas to make money. He's not playing like it.
Thanks for the money.
Smoke Break survive in the lower bracket, going on to play Food Drive for Globe. And wow, what a fight.
So yeah, we're feeling really excited to be in the semifinals to just keep continuing through the tournament. It's just a pleasure to play on stage in front of people cheering you on. I get excited, like you can't help but feel really excited to move on.
Now that we're in semifinals, we definitely have still a lot to talk about and work on. I really felt like this was my first time ever with this team being able to shot call. For them to trust me, I felt like was a big part of us really getting down to that game 3 and winning.
For Smoke Break, we really liked our look at them in the last LAN. They're a tough team. You know, they seem to adapt really well to what our play style is, so we just have to mix it up.
It's going to be a very interesting rematch. We both learned a lot. We both lost today and then made a comeback. I think that's going to play a big part. We're both riding off a high, a low into a high, which is definitely different from just winning. It shows character, in my opinion. I'm hoping to move on and hope that trust comes along because we're going to need it versus Globe.
Again, I felt like I heard a mic drop with just
That was
thanks
awesome.
for the money, which is very, I mean, realistically, I could see Leon just saying that anywhere. Like, I could have been, like, in call, standing up, shouting to the other side. This is a couple of teams, though, that, like, the improvements have been something that I've watched really with a lot of interest because they have continued to get better. Like, Food Drive Lermy, I mean, I even remember saying, like, when I first saw the team roster, and I was just kind of like, yeah, I guess these guys will be like all right, you know, like, but I didn't know what to expect, and I was looking for some of the other teams that had players whose names were recognizable from SMITE 1, so maybe they'll transfer in. Turns out I was really, really, really wrong, and I've never been happier to be that wrong. They have been looking great. Food Drive for Globe, again, fighting for everything they have, but to hear how they're feeling right now, we've got Tegveer standing by on stage for an interview.
Tegveer, the carry for Food Drive for Globe, standing alongside me. Tegveer, this is a team that had no prior stage crowd experience. You're now a couple sets in. Do you feel like you're settling into it well?
Yeah, I think we're settling in. I think there were some nerves for the first set, but I think they're pretty much all gone now.
Well, and the first set was a loss to 5Ms. You now know that they stand either in your way or Smoke Break's way to getting into the grand finals. How much do you want that rematch against 5Ms?
Well, we really want to beat them because they've like always beaten us throughout our like run all the way here, and I think we can do it.
Well, before you get there, you got to beat Smoke Break. This is another EMEA versus NA matchup. Do you feel like it is two different regions, two different styles, or is it more team-based here at this event?
I think it's more team-based. I don't know if they really have a EU-specific style, but they're a really strong team, and I think we're prepared for them.
Happen plus Tegveer versus Echrome plus El Leon. Which side are you favoring?
Well, it's going to be an Happen.
Seems like you've been playing some really good Smite. Appreciate it. Best of luck. We'll head back to the desk.
Now, the thing that really stands out to me here, Lermy, first off, Hazer's been calling them a team with a capital T, right? Like, they play together. But the other thing that Food Drive has that I think is really interesting, and a note, I guess, to take from the interview is, like, they don't necessarily play the same stuff I've been seeing all the other teams been playing. Like, they've been doing their own thing, but it's been working out for them at least a little bit yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, as a team with relatively little LAN experience, and especially not in front of the crowd, I do think that it is very important for them to, again, play their own style. And I've been very impressed with the kind of ideas that they've had and what they brought out when it comes to the team comps in general. And then the execution is another step on top of that. And overall, even though there were some slip-ups yesterday, I think altogether just super, super impressive stuff. But they will have to mix it up going into this set because it's kind of all on the table now. They know what the game plan is between the Morrigan and the Chalks and all of that stuff. Can't be running that every single day because teams have planned for that. They're ready.
Yes.
Yeah. The do or die moment, right? Backs against the wall, not just for Food Drive, but for Smoke Break, who on the other side have been doing an incredible job. Again, a team that was able to dethrone Team Risk and one of the only ones who are able to do so at the last LAN. He's got his luggage now as well, so I'm sure Benko's feeling even better. We can hear from himself as he's standing by on the stage.
Yeah, I don't know what fine clothing rhymes with Benko, but it's Suit Walker. I'll go back to that one for a moment here with me on stage. You got the suit, you're all dressed up. Is there a power-up associated with that, with your actual in-game play?
Absolutely, there is a power-up. And on top of that, earlier we got confirmation that Team Risk, in fact, are back. meaning our loss yesterday, like we kind of like, shrugged it off.
Right, it's a quality loss, if you will. They are now awaiting in the grand finals. You've got a match, really 2, before you can get there. Are you hungry for a rematch against Team Risk, though, or are you taking it one match at a time?
Well, there is a prophecy. Every tournament, Smoke Break has to face Team Risk at least twice.
And the only option now is in the grand finals. But you got a team, an NA team on the other side, not a lot of experience against them. What do you think Food Drive for Globe does well, and what do you guys need to do well to get a win?
I don't understand why Karmic, every time he plays against us, he's just the best player in the world. They just step it up against us, so we treat them with a lot of respect.
Do you feel like you've established a bit of a solo lane meta here at this event, or you kind of adapting, watching what other teams are playing, and morphing it all together?
Not this time, I think. I think the meta, the meta kind of, I feel like automatically happens. I don't know if anyone specifically picked something that was out of the ordinary. I think we all kind of understood what was good, but just weren't sure how good exactly it was when it comes to tournaments.
Well, Benko, a couple matches remain between you and a potential second match against Team Risk. Best of luck. Thanks for your time. And we'll go back to the desk.
There's probably way more I should talk about from the interview, but up front, I want to, because Aggro specifically, and Laramie, this is just because you don't have the collar, that you don't have to deal with the tie. How often do you think he's wearing a suit to be comfy and cozy playing in it? Because the only reason I'm okay doing this is because we did so many years where we had to wear this every broadcast.
It's true. No, I think that the rarity of it is what attributes to the power-up, really. It's
honestly.
He never wears it otherwise, but when he does wear the suit, it's game time for Benko.
It's like taking the training weights off.
Exactly. It's taking the training weights off, and it's putting
the training weights are just
the tight
sweatpants and a jersey.
Yeah, those are the training weights. The tight collar and the tie is the real deal.
A prophecy, by the way, that was mentioned, that Smoke Break has to face Team Risk at least twice. So I guess we'll see if the prophecy comes true, or if Food Drive have something different. He also mentioned that Karmic also becomes the best player in the world, it seems like, whenever they play against each other. Picks and Bans, game 1! Smoke Break will be on the left side of the screen. Your first pick, Team Food Drive for Globe, responding. And again, a friendly reminder, 2 bans per team. And Laramie Chalk at the very beginning, which would normally throw me for a loop, but Food Drive has been loving it.
Yeah, Chalk got a little chuckle out of me. I think that it really does seem to be the backbone of that Morgan composition we saw yesterday. When Chalk got banned, Morgan did not get played. So I'm kind of thinking that that's going to be the play.
Oh,
and honestly, that's going to get a move for me too. Ooh, give me Aladdin, man. Come on.
Listen, it's a little lame when it's the first pick side banning it. When you're second pick, I get it. I wouldn't want to play against it either. When it's first pick side, it does. It's 50% of your bans that you got to commit.
Cowards ban Aladdin is right.
Of all the realms
The heckity first pick. Aggro, this is not... Well, I was going to say this is not common, but I think it's becoming increasingly more common as this entire tournament progresses.
Yeah, it seems that they also watched the last set that I watched. And Hecate looked like the best mid laner by a pretty considerable margin, but they passed up Uller, they passed up Medusa. We've seen a lot of Yamoja early, though I expect that to be a little bit less common here. And the Thor, I wonder if this is going to Karmic, because Variety made this pick look unbeatable in the solo lane. It's looked worse in jungle, I think, than solo, but Karmic has been that Hades player up until this point. I wonder if this Thor is going to him, or if they're going to pick a Hades and give it over to Vala.
Honestly, I have not been loving the Hades thus far. I think it worked out pretty well when it was the new shiny thing and people didn't really understand how to play against it. But I do think it's kind of lost its luster a little bit, especially in comparison to the Bologna, which we saw earlier. Of course, banned now. So other options are on the table. I mean, we saw the Ama in the last set. Could go back to that.
I do agree that Hades looked a little worse, but there's a difference between most Hades and Karmic Hades. Karmic looks like the best Hades by a wide margin, in my opinion. So I wouldn't hate them going back to it, though it looks like they won't anymore with the Gevin Loki.
Yeah, you save a little space, you've got options for your mid laner.
This is
We've
gonna
been seeing,
be fun.
a little bit of air towards an Agni, technically, in the last one. Pity looks great on it. So still, maybe something. I made a Mulan pickup.
That's big.
I mean, Laramie, it's not something we get to see too often.
First time this tournament, Hua Mulan has had quite a couple of upgrades coming in from SMITE 1, especially around that banner, which is now part of her Training Grounds passive. when you
I
use
must
that
protect
consumable
them
from your
and
inventory,
this
you gain
sacred
bonus
place.
XP. Anyone in that area gains bonus XP, and that is normally a very, very scary stat to be given somebody.
Yeah, the chances that Benko has figured out some weird way to hit 2 or 3 earlier based on when he uses the banner and clears this many camps, or you can join up with Johnny and you can both spike off of it, like, this is the type of player who figures those types of things out, and I'm really excited to see how he uses that banner. I think it could be huge.
Now, seeing Loki versus Thanatos in the jungle, how do we feel about that one? I feel like for a while I kept hearing Loki as like the top of the, everything, but the Thanatos has been kind of picking up.
Yeah, I mean, they're both kind of the standard right now when we're talking about it. I do think that Valo looked absolutely insane on this Loki yesterday, so bringing it back, definitely the comfort pick that you like to see. But here's the thing, Johnny also loves Loki. So he kind of knows the ins and outs of what Valo's going to be looking for, especially having seen Valo play it at least 3 times yesterday.
Yeah.
He's got a general game plan.
I think historically I've always thought of Thanatos setting of having a pretty good matchup into Loki, like near counter matchup territory. Loki does just scale to a point where he doesn't really get scared by Thanatos anymore, but I still don't dislike the Thanatos matchup here for Johnny. I think Smoke Break came away with a strong draft.
I'm excited to see it. Smoke Break versus Food Drive. Again, this one's loser, go home, but you just got to start it off right, and to do so, we'll go down to our casters.
We're coming down to the wire in the lower brackets. Smoke Break versus Food Drive for Globe. I'm excited for this one. And Inbound, I obviously have to get your thoughts on this pick and ban stage, because we have, first time in Founder Series, Mulan gets picked.
And I love starting here with the Mulan, and I think Agro's 100% right. Talking about training grounds, this option to place down this banner that gives you extra XP, allows you to maybe hit that level 2, level 3 breakpoint early. I'm curious to see what Benko does with it early. Does he opt to maybe use it in lane to hit that early level 2? The small issue that Mulan has is she's usually thought of as this really strong early game character. At this current point, her early game is just fine, like it's passable. You need to get stacks into your abilities to actually be a threat. My worry is that Benko is going to be stuck in lane, not getting a little bit of damage there, not getting those early leveled up into your abilities, not getting the second proc on your 2, that third proc on your 1, because Karmic doesn't care to fight in this lane. Karmic wants to run away, wants to clear camps, wants to just fight a ton with the wave, with the camps.
Well, Benko's in trouble. He does have Johnny coming to help. Lost a lot of health here. Food Drive don't really seem unwilling to keep it going. Just gonna chase Johnny down. Karmic sitting on this Thor. I guess really liked what he saw earlier today. Johnny's still gonna box here, does a ton of damage. Has to blink out, and that is a matchup I'm interested in watching all series.
And Agro talked about it on desk. This is grounds for a counter pick Thanatos into Valo, and Valo picked this Loki into Thana. The early game is pretty unplayable for Valo, so to see him walk up into Johnny, knowing Johnny has that level 1, and try to take that fight, I think it's bad, because now he loses that blink. He doesn't now have that safety of blink and ult until he hits level 5. I almost want to see Benko and Johnny bully out this Loki more. Don't let him hit 5, because Agro's right. There is a late game portion where Valo does not care. Loki does not care about Thana. There's no threat there. There's no damage there. Loki can kind of just run around and farm and threaten normally. But we've seen this matchup a couple times. If Thanatos gets that lead, Loki's a little bit behind. Loki really can't play the match that well. You can't walk through the Thana. You can't really get around him. So that's an eye on the jungle matchup. That's what I want to keep my eye on.
You know, I think there's something to be said, though, with Valo. Outside of all the other junglers we've seen play Loki, he just seems to have a knack for how to play
those
the
team
god.
fights
Are absolutely
disgusting.
Insane. Even if they get behind early, you start looking elsewhere on the map or elsewhere on the team. But on Smoke Break, who else I'm interested in is Sap on this Hecate. Yesterday, getting top player damage, and you were saying right before they threw to us, feeling like Sap maybe raising the stocks of Hecate in this tournament altogether.
Yeah, I think the first player I think of with this Hecate is Sap. And it's a god that now across the board is raising. We're seeing it first picked in a game like this. Globe really hasn't shown an affinity to early pick it, but it doesn't matter. This character just does too much, is a little bit too safe, can threaten with that range that she has with the ultimate. The 1 range, the 2 range is also pretty long, pretty far. And Nuwa doesn't have that same threat. Nuwa, a god that you get close to her, she's able to drop those minions. Yeah, she's got the damage. Yeah, she can kind of burst to you, but it's a lot different than Hecate.
They dive in at the start.
Wait, Johnny?
Still sit on it. Johnny's in a lot of trouble. Did not expect the knives out to do that much. Just could not get out of trouble, and Valo actually picks up the first blood. So that Thanatos getting ahead early is looking a little tough.
And that's just a good read by Valo. Valo being around mid lane because they've already shown an aggression onto Globe, and Globe with nice peel there. Now that's what you want to see if you're playing this Loki. You're through that early portion of the game. Your Blink's up again in 90 seconds. You're going to hit 5 first. It's something about Valo on Loki. It doesn't matter. He's behind. He's, you know, losing his Blink early game. He's still going to be effective on this character. He's had an unreal tournament. It's looked so good, and I love the Loki pick for him.
Well, let's look at that first blood again and see how exactly he worked around it.
I mean, he just waits for the opportunity to go in, and then the Loki burst at level 4 with your 1, with your 3, and there's just nothing Johnny can do there when he commits like that. He has that beads, which the beads will help him. There's a lot of CC. You get axed by Techbeard, you're going to take a lot of damage. Happen ults you, you're going to take a lot of damage. I understand the need for beads, but Valo doesn't need those beads. Valo has the more combat fight with this ultimate, with this flash, I mean.
Hit the grapple on the ult as well, but actually missed everything else. Something promising was developing there, and then Karmic just avoids everything. Johnny with a passerby. Valo also lurking over towards the solo lane.
And something that we're seeing with Globe here, this entire tournament, most mid laners have rushed this Soul Gem. Globe is not going for it. He's going for this Book of Thoth. He doesn't have it started yet. He's not getting...
Benko, what's happening? Stuck around a little too long. Maybe didn't think Valo was there. We did see him come across earlier. We'll have to get that on the replay in a little bit.
And Happen also teleported over there, so has a 3v1 on Benko and doesn't have that safety of that ultimate. That's a nice play there by Food Drive for Globe. Put this Mulan behind also. Jorby, having a free farming, roaming Thor is what you want in solo lane. That's why you pick this character. You also almost have the same thing in jungle.
Oh my goodness, that's a lot of damage. Got the double tap into the teleport. You're in trouble now, Johnny. Can't escape it. Valo is eating good.
And now it's an even bigger lead for your solo laner, an even bigger lead for your jungler. No, don't do it to him. Don't do it to him.
He wants it. He wants it. Well, you missed everything.
I understand what they were going for. Maybe did anything hit? No, but I see what they were looking for.
Well, let's take a look at that last replay on the last miss. Obviously, I love having you break it down for me. Benko going down here.
And it looks like, yeah, Benko's just playing a little bit too far forward, and they just have those ultimates available. And Happen wasn't even there. That was just low-key damage. And that's what happens. You get this early lead. He doesn't even have that first item finished, and he's already putting out that much damage. I so far have loved how Food Drive have played this early game. They're playing to get Karmic ahead. Aggro said that Karmic is, you know, the best Hades. And on stage, Deathwalker says Karmic levels up. You're kind of seeing it already so far. 002, not like he's playing phenomenally. He's actually even behind right now, but he's helped get Valo ahead. He's also just kind of avoided this early game fight into the Mulan, which you don't really care about. So I like the spot that Karmic's in so far.
Yeah, Benko not having fun over here. Meanwhile, over on that duo side, the conversation between Elion and Happen, Elion felt like there was a bit of a struggle against Risk yesterday and actually being that engagement force as portals open for Sap. Not going to find much. They will get the new ult out, and Elion actually just straight up kills Globon.
And Globe mistimes his ult there. You have to save your ult for a couple seconds after the ult comes down so you can actually live it. Ultimate force there by Valo. Maybe looking to go for him. Thana's in the air.
It'll be risky. Got the touch, got the scythe, got the kill. Seb actually collects credit for it.
You'll actually get out with your life as well, so maybe not as much risk as you may have first
Gold
thought
Fury
there.
too. They have a Gold Fury angle here too. This is Smoke Break coming back into the game.
Kind of playing against what Food Drive have done so well, at least coming into this tournament, which is that farm, which is getting those objectives down quick.
He has Sunder.
Have happened.
He's low though.
Looking for it, and there's just no chance for him to get in.
Yeah, exactly. He's too low to actually walk in, look to take that fight. Smoke Break after that lackluster early game. Jorby, they're seeing a little lead for them right now, and this is just over the past minute and a half. And it starts with Globe getting picked in mid. He mistimes his ultimate into the Yamocha. You cannot ult it right away. Yamocha ult stays down too long. You have to save it for a little bit. Unfortunately, he does get caught into that. He does get picked off. And then another nice play in left lane. And we even see...
What?
Karmic?
Oh, had the shield as well. He'll get out.
Phantom Shell.
Very, very close call there for Karmic. You were talking about how he was even a little bit behind earlier. And as Benko starts to stabilize, that one might be a little more difficult for him.
And now we're starting to see some points of those these Mulan abilities. Now she's starting to threaten. She gets a little bit more damage. And also, when she starts maxing out those abilities, her ultimate also gets a little bit extra, but then in the air.
Covering death. And easy does it.
Incredible.
Globe not having a good time here early.
And this is that weakness of Nuwa. There's just not a ton of survivability. She opts for that shell, which I get the shell. You can go into the Emoja. If you ever get walled, you can set just ulting. You can shell through it. But we're going to see stuff like Johnny's going to be camping him. Sap will be fishing for those ultimates. And when it comes down to it, when Benko rotates over, or sorry, when Benko rotates over, there's also the threat of just being so much damage, that shell's not going to matter. Globe has to position very, very smart over these next few minutes before he gets those full build online, gets a little bit more damage and can actually threaten on the dive. But they've shown they want to put Globe behind. I mean, look at mid lane. Sap is up 3 levels, Jorby.
Already finished the second item.
This is that Hecate. And the issue with this Book of Thoth, Jorby, it's slow. Soul Gem is instant. Gem of Focus is instant. These are quick items. We have 12, 13 stacks on this Book of Thoth. No damage coming out of the Nuwa. She has no cooldown, so she doesn't have that safety of going into the air. I'm worried about her.
It's kind of crazy how quickly this just turned around. Echrome pumped all that damage in, and, well, on trouble as well. Rollout for Happen to get out of it. He's still going to die to Johnny. Smokebreak kept just completely flipped around that first 5 minutes where Valo's getting fed. You're thinking, oh boy, Food Driver starting to snowball, then all of a sudden one kill gets you a Gold Fury. And here comes Mulan doing a ton of damage onto Karmic, forced up on the anvil. You even make the play here, do you just escape? Thinking about it. Maybe just going to play safe.
And so far, I don't love how Karmic has played this laning phase. I don't like that he's fighting into the Mulan a lot and he's not really looking for farm and looking for proxy. Tegveer?
Whoa, Tegveer. Good night to you. Hovering barely gets him out, and the tick.
38.
So close.
That is very, very close. But that's a nice dive also. Tegveer gets knocked up by Echrome, and I have to shout out Echrome so far. What a good game so far. Echrome, I actually think, did not play well at all yesterday. But today, so far, he's bullying out Tegveer. You need this out of your ADC. You need Echrome to step up.
Was definitely the biggest question mark for me coming out of yesterday too, where it felt like he was always doing the opposite of what he needed to, engaging when he should have left, leaving when he should have engaged. It just didn't really seem to be on the same page, and it kind of threw off the mark for Smokebreak altogether. So you're wondering, can they, you're quoting Hazer, be the big T team and help be that difference maker? So far, they've started playing around Johnny really well. They're starting to take control of this solo lane. Karmic has gotten bullied out. Globe is getting bullied out. And Tegveer is getting bullied out. They're winning every single lane right now.
The Pyro Man.
And your comp scales. Like, there's not that worry of, you know, we don't scale. We have Jinwei Yemoja, so we play for that late game. We're still fine. Thanatos, with this aspect, is a character that does still play well into the late game. It's not as risky as no aspect Thanatos. So there is a lot of late game capabilities on top of, as you just said, you're winning every lane. You haven't even played for too many objectives. That's your first Naga. You have 1 Gold Fury. Pyro's up, Gold Fury's up. We could be talking about Smokebreak being up 10K at 15 minutes if they just play for these objectives, maybe get a tower here or there. So far, Smokebreak, after that first, 3 minutes? Phenomenal play by them.
You know, we're seeing a lot more Void Shield, I've noticed. It used to just be shifters, and that's it. But you see, Johnny has picked up the Void Shield as well on Thanatos. It's an interesting switch when it comes to those cruiser-type items to try to give yourself both sustainability. But why that switch?
Void Shield is just extra pen for Thanatos. You can opt into then just going a little bit of strength, and with Binding, with Void Shield, this is specifically for Thana. With Binding, Void Shield, you just have enough damage threat without building too much damage because your 3 scales off that max health you get from getting those last hits. So Johnny doesn't need to itemize into a ton of strength. And for Deathwalker, it's just that trade potential in lane. It's just you have strength item that gives you protections, that also gives you a little bit of health, and then you also get that penetration. So it allows Benko to at least threaten Karmic, who does have that 1 defense item in that Glad Shield. And again, focusing on solo lane, I want Karmic to do this more. I want him to go for proxies. Mulan at this point will win that 1v1 very easily. I don't want him trading in lane. Just walk around, proxy. If you get rotated on, you still have that ultimate to get out of jail free. If that's down, I get it. You want to sit in lane, it's fine. But play around your ultimate safety. Benko has no ult here.
Still sitting up, he's just gonna grapple and try to fight. I don't know about that one.
Stampede.
We'll get out of it. The Stampede to give him the speed running. And has the help, but you gotta spend health to open the gates, and you're not gonna do that because the portal will send them through. Get out and save the day, but Anvil, it might have Karmic looking for a little bit more, but everyone's real spread out. Picks his poison, and Sap actually picks up Fallow off screen, gets a double kill off screen. Meanwhile, this fight's still going on. Benko and Karmic, it's real close health-wise. Johnny's entered the fray.
It's a disaster.
Karmic is absolutely dead here, surely. Silence, missed the sight, doesn't matter. Benko collects.
Sap 7 is having a game. What an ultimate to ult all three of them away from Benko. He then teleports ult, and then he runs them down also. I mean, this is why you pick that Hecate first. This is the value of that character. You compare it to that Nuwa. Nuwa's not able to do anything at this point. She still doesn't even have her book stack.
So we watched in the solo lane. Let's watch from Sap's perspective here.
And this is just, you have that vision from Benko being there. And then at this point, she does have that Gemma focus. She can just run down Happen, and this is just a free play. And overall, you had to look for a play if you're on Food Drive for Globe. This game is spiraling. You had to look for something. You send 3 to kill Benko, and you don't kill him, and then 3 of your teammates die. Disastrous.
Bobby, they are 10K up, not even 14 minutes into the game. They've just completely blown this open. I mean, how do you even stabilize right now if you're Food Drive? It's still really early, right? Despite the large gold lead.
Yeah, and at this point, if you do want to stabilize, you have to just play to avoid fights. Loki, really good at that. Uller, really good at that. Thor, really good at that. You just can't really look for too many plays. There's a lot of rotation potential also for Smoke Break. Thanatos rotates really, really well, really, really fast. So you have to be smart on your rotations. But even looking for a play here on Sap, Fallow all-ins, and now he's just going to die.
And the
He's
assassinate into blink out, no chance.
But that's not a good trade. That's not a good trade. You're just trading all of your survivability for just Sap's beads, who does still have the safety of ultimate in 60 seconds. You have to just farm out if you're Food Drive.
Johnny in between the tier 1 and 2. And that's got to be ultra tilting if you're Globe. Thinking, okay, finally, gonna get a little bit of safety. Nope, Thanatos is just free roaming in my jungle. That's got to be a real frustrating feeling for Food Drive for Globe, who if they get sent to the lower bracket by 5Ms, you feel like you are good enough to make that run through this lower bracket. Here comes the other EMEA team. Here comes Smoke Break, who actually smack you right back in the mouth when you thought you had a chance after the first 3 minutes.
Well, you know, the issue is, Deathwalker was talking about a prophecy. Yeah. You can't beat the prophecy. Globe just dove under tower, one-shot by Johnny.
Where do you even hear that prophecy from?
I think it's just written on the wall somewhere.
Is it written on his suit? Like
it
on the
might
underneath?
Be. Yeah.
Underneath the lapel.
And that's the legend of Suit Walker. It's also the prophecy. And honestly, Smoke Break is taking like 10 steps up from what we saw yesterday. This is what I want to see from Smoke Break. Dual lane is playing well, but Benko, Johnny, and Sap have dictated this entire game. They are playing phenomenal.
Happen. Looking for a way to maybe steal this, but maybe just hoping for a team fight right after. Either way, Pyromancer will fall and Smoke Break
fire
will go right to it and start it up. They feel confident right now. Why wouldn't
Go for the
you?
steal.
With the gold
You gotta
lead,
try.
It has to be a steal for Food Drive for Globe. You saw Anvil in the background looking for the ult. Karmic comes through. And the assist come in as well. Grapple actually stuns one out. Cataclysm to try to stun everybody. I believe he got 3 with that. And Echrome does make sure that Fire Giant falls. And now it's time to collect your winnings. Happen is the first to fall. You're completely out on this. And Karmic will break
Good
out.
dagger.
And barely leave it. The stun in the
way.
wall will prevent him from dying to Echrome, and everyone's done.
And that's a good attempted steal. I like that they only sent Happen and they only sent Karmic. Valo farmed out, Tegvir farmed out, and Globe farmed out just to get a little bit more farm. Even if you don't get the steal, happens up in 5 seconds. It doesn't matter. And also a really nice Obsidian Dagger by Karmic there to live so that you're not on respawn, to then allow them to go for those tier 2s. Smoke Break kind of had to look for that reset. But now, Jorby, massive, massive lead is still there. The game hasn't slowed down at all. If anything, Smoke Break is speeding the game up every second. There has to be a defense somewhere. My issue is you have no items. You have no items. You have 3 items on your mid laner, which isn't enough to kill Benko. It's not enough to kill Elion. Tegvir's not far enough in the build to actually threaten frontliners either. So if Benko and Elion just kind of walk you down, you're just going to lose the game. If you're Food Drive for Globe, I think at this point, you're giving up the Phoenix. Whether it's 1, whether it's 2, you can't take the fight there. You have to just try to split and get farm on your team. I like that they are opting to go right. I like that also Johnny is defending middle lane, so they don't have 2 lanes to split push. But, I mean, Food Drive for Globe is just kind of getting choked out. They don't have farm really anywhere. You can't walk into your own jungle. 14K is a lot, and it's an issue. And it's going to be a big throw by Smoke Break if Food Drive for Globe is going to get back into this game. Because they also have a really easy-to-play comp. It's not difficult to play around Yaboja. You just play around your healing. And Benko has really good engage. So it's not easy to even fight in Smoke Break's comp.
They keep on pushing forward. Karmic not getting the value that he was hoping out of that Thor. Really, I mean, nobody on Food Drive is getting any value. Not even seeing Valo somehow eke away kills out of nothing. Maybe they need that kind of heroism to find the kill, but even with the hammer, even with all of that, Benko doesn't care. He'll just ult, he'll grapple, he'll swing the blades, and keep on fighting Karmic, who's forced to ult out as he saw the rest of Smoke Break coming in on the tier 2. He's forced out of the fight.
Your team is
Johnny's just gonna chase him. It's not even done.
Karmic landed in.
And the portal as well.
Karmic.
Goodbye, Karmic.
I mean, I guess it really doesn't matter. You are down so much at this point, you might as well try to make a play. But now you're down 4v5, and all these Phoenixes are exposed.
This feels over. Like,
yeah.
I mean, they're just running them down right now. I think they might even try to end. Look at them. They're killing everybody. Was their first sub-20 game on land? They're going for it. Inbound. I believe they're going to do it right here. Game 1 over in the blink of an eye. Ullr's alive. Not anymore. Ekrome's going nuts. Ekrome is absolutely killing him. A double kill for Smoke Break at the end.
Wow. I'm floored at what I just saw.
The music is very fitting for that game.
It really was. That was a clown fiesta, not for Smoke Break. Smoke Break played very, very well. But what is Food Drive for Globe doing? I feel like every play they tried to make later into the game is just disastrous. They go for a 3-man gank onto Benko. Sap cleans all 3 of them up. They go for that early play. It just doesn't really work out outside of those first 3 minutes. And I mean, genuinely, nothing worked out past those first 3 minutes. That's bad.
Seems like Karmic just got hard countered by Mulan. Like,
why did he fight that? I don't understand why he fights that.
Multiple times he kept trying to fight it, right? It's like, you can't do it. He got that assist from Valo early on, too. And you were even saying it. Get the farm up so you can start rotating and actually control the mid lane, because Globe was absent the entire game. Just was not working out at all for Food Drive. Completely different team than we saw yesterday.
And I think shouting out that mid lane matchup, Sap is not allowed Hecate again. Period.
Yeah, true.
Don't give him Hecate.
Don't do that. We'll see if they do that after the break. We'll be right back.
Finally frozen, no more emotion. Started escaping, now everything's numb. Dove in the deep end, stuck and I can't swim. So out of breath, I know I don't have long. Yeah, this is way too much, just give it away. Yeah, this is way too much, just give it away. I'm done explaining my pain, this is way too much. I wanna feel you, hurry up, give me the rush. Cause it's the last time that I romanticize and rip
Welcome back, everyone, to the SMITE 2 Founders Series. And of course, we have, again, another fantastic set on our hands. Smoke Break go up 1-0. But if you want something fantastic in your hands, then I recommend that you go pick up some of the U2's pins that just dropped literally yesterday. You can go to U2s.com and pick up any of these 4 pins, the exclusive SMITE 2 pins that they have. These 4 pins reflect in-game emotes, each with special features. As you can see, coins that bounce, soul bouncing, arms that move, or for Zeus, glowing in the dark. And 2 of these or the logo selection, 2 of the emotes as well. Logo selection for 2 of the teams here at the Founders Series. So you can order online at U2s.com, or if you're in venue, you can check them out at the merch booth. These things are amazing. And again, I mean, after seeing it, I feel like, at least here, the Danzaburo one that lines up with 5Ms, but also when they win, it just matches like the Vegas vibe.
Yes.
Because it's just the coins flying, you know, the money eyes for Danza. But I will admit that I am partial to the Sobek and this the look of the soul. So hey, maybe I need to go to U2s.com and pick these up. But again, I've got Lermy, I've got Aggro sitting here on the desk with me, and what we need to crack into and I guess discuss and relay to each other and to them. Smoke Break getting their win, and Lermy, a lot of it looked like they were just kind of in control.
Yeah, I mean, there was a couple of moments in the early game of brilliance coming out, especially driven by Ballo on this Loki. But at that point, you kind of have to be worried about what Johnny's doing. Johnny goes absolutely crazy towards that mid game, gets a bunch of kills, starts to snowball things going forward, and it all just turns out to be Smoke Break looking kind of crazy.
Dominant performance. I mean, that sub 20 minutes or right at the 20-minute mark. I mean,
crazy.
Just unbelievable performance from them. And it just came down to the middle of the map collapsed for Food Drive for Globe. Globe on this new WAP pick just fell behind, and the entire map fell apart from there for Food Drive. Sap got ahead, Johnny got ahead. Then this Mulan started rotating in, and it was going to be problematic. You knew it was just too much too quickly for Food Drive, and this Uller pick didn't get a chance to come online. Eatchrome was really ahead on the Jingwei, and Jingwei known for her safety, but also so great at pushing those leads. Just not nearly enough potential here for Food Drive to come back in this game once they fell behind in mid.
And this is a team, and Smoke Break specifically, that you give them this kind of opening. I was even, talking to some of them where they are the kind of squad that will learn really well, really fast. Hey, what we did doesn't work. This is how we change that. And it's never been this thing where I'm too worried about, you know, God Pool, right? When we go into picks and bans, I'm really interested to see what they'll lock in, just because it does feel like they'll play the things that beat them, and then they'll play things that beat other people anyway. Like, they'll pick up whatever works well against them and then use it to beat you as well. So a really good team at adapting, but that it doesn't necessarily matter that much when you're the one who wins. What matters for Food Drive for Globe is how well you can adapt now, because that's going to be the biggest thing that you need, right? So losing that game, being able to potentially flip sides, going maybe for first pick, but like, what kind of changes do you see that are maybe necessary? Like, do you need to get something out of their hands? Do you need something in your hands?
You need not Nuwa in your mid lane. I'm good. I know that Feeks won game 4 on it in that set, but it wasn't easy. And you look at the impact that Benny Q had in that match, and it was just more than what we saw out of the Nuwa. I think Nuwa is just, I've seen enough. You lose too much pressure. It doesn't bring enough in the later stages of the game until you get to 6 items plus an elixir. I just think that Globe, off the chalk, has looked like a completely different player. I love the ban from Smoke Break onto the chalk. There's no reason to think that they will change it at this point. I just have to think that there's another pick for Globe that he has that's better than Nuwa. I remember Globe playing a lot of Agni at LAN in Smite 1. Pull that out. It's not great 1 to 4, but 5 and onwards, it gets a lot better. And you have some amount of agency in the game. Nuwa, you just surrender your ability to influence the game by your decisions. The game just happens around you, and you try and do your best within it.
I know you just want to see Aladdin.
Yes, well, that's true.
Sure.
I do have
There's probably
another
some
point,
other
though.
guns.
If we're talking on the flip side of the mid lane, though, we did see SAP7 pull out the Hecate. And we were gassing up the Aphrodite, the Uller, the Medusa. The top pick of the tournament, in my opinion, has got to be the Hecate.
Yep.
So I think pulling that away from SAP7 might just be the play here.
It could be the big deal. Picks and bans, game 2. Food Drive will be first pick. And that changes some things up. Smokebreaker up 1-0, though. That means Food Drive in this best of 3 could get eliminated here. They don't want to do that as much as they can. So they're trying to find, I think I just heard someone shout "why" in the crowd.
For the chalk ban. that was a Globe fan, by the way. That was maybe just Globe himself.
That's a solid Hecate ban if I ever didn't see one before.
Yeah.
Last ban, though, I'm waiting. Please, don't do it, guys. You know you want to leave the Aladdin open. Guys, fellas. Aladdin's gone. That's so sad. But first pick here, got the Uller open, got the Medusa open. I think those are probably the most standard picks.
Afro's available.
Oh, you are correct about that one. Aphrodite making it through these picks and bans does mean she's available.
Elion played it yesterday, so you have to assume that Smoke Break's going to take it top 2 if you don't take it. Food Drive does,
Just be
but
mad that you're not.
Afro's really strong, right? No one's going to contest that, but it is a particular style. You have to be well-versed in how to play it, and your team has to be well-versed in how to play around it. How much Afro practice does Food Drive have? That's a relevant question here, I think.
Yeah, I've got to say,
Thanatos.
the picks on the other end are very solid. We've seen Johnny with the hot hand on the Thanatos last game. Probably going to go back to it. Could still swap over for Benko. Although I would like to see Benko back on the Hua Mulan. I was very impressed with what she had to bring to the table as a character. And I think we just haven't seen enough for this tournament.
Isn't that like, that's just, it feels like one of the most Benko things in the world, where it's just like, here's something nobody else is playing. By the way, I'm going to come in and outperform everything you could have possibly imagined. And if anybody else picks it up, it's not going to look the same. Like, it has that vibe. I mean, I'm even thinking back to I mean, what was it, that 5-man tier fearless, where it's just kind of like, you get a moment like that in Smite 1, and it's just like, nobody else is going to do that.
Yeah.
And so it had that vibe, and there's the Mulan back with aggro, the Loki, and the Zeus, but we have to do our checks and balances. Probably not a mid-Zeus, considering the team that locked it in.
No, probably not, but it does look like kind of a good game for it, if you ask me. I don't love it into the Uller Yamoja matchup. I like Karmic going back to this Hercules. He did not look good on the Thor. And it felt like Food Drive in game 1 were trying to play what they saw other teams playing at this LAN. Instead, pick what you are good at. You know, this team plays weird stuff. I like them going back to what we can assume to be Zeus ADC, Medusa mid. Could change it around, but I'd expect this to be Medusa mid, Zeus ADC. And it feels more like a food drive composition rather than a Las Vegas event composition.
Yeah, I've got to kind of agree with that. I think that the biggest strength here for Food Drive for Globe is that they've got this Aphrodite to pocket the Zeus.
Yes.
We saw Tegbeer go crazy without the Aphrodite, but now with one, I mean, that's going to go nuts.
It is going to go nuts. I am a little worried, though, because Tegbeer's Zeus build is all about uptime, right? He needs to hit a lot of auto attacks consecutively in order to get the damage from that build going. And you look at this Smoke Break team, who do you get to hit consistently? Especially when you've got good CC from the Hercules and the Afro, but it's not great. And Yamoja, super mobile with Riptide, throws up the River's Rebuke, you can't basic attack her anymore. Morrigan is not going to be in front of you, she's going to be behind you. Thanatos is dunking you and then bursting you. Mulan, mobile. Ullr, mobile. I'm worried that Tegbeer is not going to have the uptime he needs for his build to work.
Well, it is do or die. This Zeus needs to work if they want to continue on in the Founders Series. We have to see it. We have to get to it. So let's go to our casters for Game 2.
It's going to be a long night for one of these teams and a very short one for another. It could be Food Drive getting eliminated here inbound. The picks and bans going a little different. Aphrodite let through. A lot of talk on the desk about that Aphrodite-Zeus combo, but...
It is Globe on the Zeus.
Okay.
They're giving Tegbeer the Medusa, and I'm kind of with aggro on this one. I like that even though Tegbeer is kind of like the known Zeus player, it is an auto attack style Zeus. There's not a ton of, you know, there's not a ton of burst that the Zeus has. It has a lot of consistent damage. I like that they opt for the Zeus mid and putting Tegbeer on this Medusa, because this gives you a winning lane in dual lane, and it's a lane that you kind of need to win, because we saw it last game. Echrome on this Ullr will bully you if he does get ahead. I like that they opt for a winning duo lane. They can get to lane first, and they can actually push their lead and not worry about how Echrome's going to be playing this Ullr, because they should have prio, and they should be the ones looking for kills. My worry, again, though, Johnny on Thana, past 5 minutes in last game, phenomenal. I'm a little worried that the Loki was fine, but there becomes a point where if you're too far behind, Thana just runs rampant. You can't shut him down. You ult him, he ults in trade, and then that's good for him because he can then re-engage on you. I think it's a fine pick, and I like it a lot more now that Karmic's off of Thor. I did not like the Thor. I like the Hercules a lot more. I like when Karmic is the one starting fights, and he doesn't have to all in. My worry with last game was he had to all in with this Thor. With Hercules, you just frontline. You walk around, you fish, you try to find the two. If you find that two, you can kill whoever you push. And I liked how he played it last time, earlier in this tournament, because he bullied out, and I'm happier with this Herc pick than I was with the Thor pick.
Yeah, I mean, I was really enjoying Karmic on Hercules yesterday. I'm like, is he going to drag him back into the meta? But it's probably just going to be Karmic picking Hercules. We'll see if that comfort helps him. And something Aggro was touching on the desk, though, that I feel like may come into play here is happen on this Aphrodite. How much practice does he actually have on it? Like Aggro was talking about, you know, Afro's a different style of support than your normal frontline kind of support. She plays a lot differently. Does Happen have that kind of experience and practice with her, or are they doing the thing where they're just picking the gods that they feel like they have to pick because Afro got through? You can't give Smoke Break Afro.
He plays Afro. He does play Afro. Is he as good as Mike's Afro? No. But quite frankly, Mike is probably the best Afro in the tournament. But Happen plays these characters that win the 2v2 in lane. He likes to play the Sobex, he likes to play the Thors, and he likes to prio there. So I like the pick. I know he plays it, and it combos well with the Medusa. It's not something you're just, you know, taking away. We're just trying to play it because we don't want Elion to have it. It is a pick that Happen has, and I like it paired with Tegbeer on this Medusa. My worry was that if you go Zeus and you go Aphrodite in this lane, one axe and you're forcing out the Afro ult. With Medusa, you can just take that fight. We've seen it a few times now where even if Ullr hits that axe, gets a nice little lead, Medusa bursts so quickly that if Ullr jumps in, he will die. That means he has to play at a distance, which is very good.
We literally saw that play out with Tegbeer on Ullr. He got bullied out so easily and was really ineffective at any point in the game. Smoke Break had top to bottom absolutely dominated Food Drive for Globe. This young team coming up, thinking, can they take down some of the old heads? They have to get through smoke break first. Elyon took a ton of damage here.
I like that, though. I like that he's slowing down Tegbeer to this lane, because now your Uller hits 2 first. And if you can get a lead in this lane with the Uller, you can poke down the Medusa. The Afro healing, she doesn't have enough points into it yet. So I like how they played this early game so far.
Pull off and go get those buffs. Just really got to hold our breath after the first 5 minutes. It did look like Food Drive for Globe were taking it, and they lost the game faster than a game of Rocket.
And that is a fast game. That's a fast game. But when you also see this Uller getting the lead, you get him that red buff. He's also got now more damage and more poke. And now Afro's finally hitting that level 2 spike, but when she's hitting level 2, Uller's going to be going to hit level 3 off those side camps, off of those back camps that he's going to be able to farm. So even though if it looked a little bit weird, you know, Elyon takes a little bit more damage than you'd expect. Tegbeer uses that shell, trades well into it. I think it's very good for the overall health of the lane. It's very, very good for Echrome more than anything else. And especially after Echrome's last game, I want to get him ahead again. I think if he's playing like he did last game, that's a hot hand to ride. Same thing with Johnny. So playing towards that side, making sure he's ahead, doesn't really matter. Elyon's a very good leader. Even if he's not ahead, he still makes good calls.
Actually have an advantage here. You force the beads out early on Benko, who will grapple Karmic right back. Battle will help get that wave cleared out. Karmic is someone I'll be looking at on this Hercules. Completely ineffective on that Thor. Was able to win with Hercules yesterday. And, I mean, how do you like that matchup into Mulan with this Hercules? Gets the combo with the 2 into the driving strike, grapple right back. Benko just loves to fight, doesn't he? Got some help as well from Johnny to force Valo out of the lane.
Mulan's wanting to fight because she wants to get those stacks. Hurt will win until she starts getting the 3rd hit into her 3 and the 2nd hit into her 2. And this is really just dependent on who has the lead. If Mulan's ahead, she will bully out the Herc. She has the damage. She has a little bit of sustain with that too. And it's the same thing with Herc. If Herc has the lead, he's got the sustain with the 3. He's got a lot of damage. His passive gives a lot of auto attack damage. So there is threat there. I would expect that's the side. I mean, we've seen Valo and Johnny played a solo side of the map last game. We've seen it earlier in the tournament. And I think this is not necessarily a scary matchup in solo lane. They're both tanks at the end of the day. But just getting a little lead for either one of these two could do wonders for blue buff invades, red buff invades. Neither of these, well, I guess Zeus does have kill potential onto a solo laner. Zeus a little bit of damage here.
Doing a ton of damage. Forces the blink. Johnny into assist as well. Valo hiding in the bushes. Johnny always willing to fight it, but everybody gets out without dying. Meanwhile, Karmic almost dying himself. Benko getting the better of him here. What's going to happen on that lane?
And look at the XP lead over there. Level 6 for Benko, level 5, just ticking over to 5 for Karmic. Is that the tech for the training grounds? Did he find something where he just got a lot of extra XP? Or did Valos going over there steal too much farm away from him, not allowing him to hit 5?
He did rotate over there twice. Meanwhile,
Elyon's at 5. He's at 5.
Elyon is in trouble. The Petrify, you don't have to be looking to get that kill. Tegbeer gets the first blood. Johnny will make sure that he pays for his efforts. That is still a fight that Food Drive won.
Yeah, that's still a good trade. You're giving Tegbeer that first blood bounty. Even though he's dying, he's going to be able to teleport back to base. It's not that big of a deal. And you also slow down Elyon from hitting 5. And behind Emoja, she's one of these supports where if you're ahead, you can kind of walk at the enemy. You can use your abilities aggressively. When she's behind, she's a pretty easy character to kill. I mean, a kiss into a lot of Medusa damage, you can burst her pretty easily. I don't mind playing for that kill, putting Elyon maybe behind a little bit, just so you can continuously killing him.
Well, let's look at that first blood again from Tegbeer as everybody's back into lane. Getting that kill early on. Food Drive want to keep pushing.
And this is just an out rotation in the jungle. And there's actually a back here, or jump away, sorry, forced onto the Ullers, and then they can just commit to Elyon. Still a good trade by Johnny. He rotates a little slower, but getting the kill on the Tegbeer is just, it's fine getting that return kill. And it also puts Johnny in a spot where he's now got a kill, and if he gets ahead, he can bully out this Loki. So I like Johnny's rotation there. I like that he's the one that gets that kill.
Now, we haven't been seeing a lot of Zeus in mid lately, but we talk a lot about Soul Gem being that item that everybody goes for. Either mid laner opting for it, you got a Gem of Focus and then a book on the other side. So maybe not the standard start for it, but is that what you do on Zeus?
For Zeus, I think it's just best late game having this Book of Thoth. It allows you to just one-shot Johnny when Johnny goes in, even if Johnny has that extra health. The worry is, again, it's going to be a little bit slower. He's not going to have that same fight potential early like Sap will. Sap opting for this Gem of Focus, which for Morgan it makes sense. For most other characters, maybe you do want that Soul Gem. But for Morgan, getting this movement speed, getting this cooldown, getting the capabilities just to be able to run around and look for ganks is a lot better than the slight little sustain you get from Soul Gem. I think I would have preferred Globe going for the Soul Gem for the safety. I mean, we saw last game, Johnny will camp you. If he feels like he can kill you off cooldown, he will try it. And there's no beads on Globe. There's no Aegis on Globe. He does have the blink, but forcing him to blink on a Zeus is not really that hard, especially when you have a Morrigan in mid that can transform into a Loki, a Thanatos, engage fights like that.
That's why he has to buy like Talisman, right? Because like it just doesn't have any of that utility of it.
And that's why the popular build for a little bit was either Book into Talisman or Soul Gem into Talisman. And I mean, he's got the cooldown ring right now. Could be Soul Gem. It could be that Talisman. I think I don't want the Talisman in this game because there's not a ton of magical damage that's going to be hitting him. I think I'd prefer the Soul Gem to not necessarily run away. I want the Soul Gem to stand and fight. You're only really using that blink when you really need to disengage, but Soul Gem allows you a little extra burst, comboed with that Book of Thoth.
It's been a much quieter opening 10 minutes. You had the trade early on, and then since then, a lot of farming, a lot of poke. The solo laners have been like going at it, boxing each other, but neither has really gotten the full advantage. We talked about the XP difference, maybe from Valo rotating over a little bit more often, but Valo hasn't shown himself over there. It looks like Karmic is starting to get back even with Benko, so that solo lane matchup, one to keep watching for sure. As we still approach maybe a rotation. Not available to really attack either. No one out of position. So we're just kind of in a holding pattern as everyone's farming up through their jungle.
And I think this is for a little bit for both teams. I don't think both teams really want to fight early game too much. I mean, you have this Yemoja, you kind of want to farm up a little bit. Morgan at level 5, you do have slight eco potential, but you kind of want to farm up, get that second, third item online. Really the only character that cares to fight early but doesn't need to is like a Hercules or a Mulan, which, I mean, at this point, you have your defense item online. Not too much is going to be happening over there. So, slow early game start to this one, and especially after last game's pop-off. I think this is good for Food Drive for Globe. Slow the game down, allows yourself to breathe a little bit, and you have objective damage. This is going to force Globe to blink. You have the objective damage to opt for a Gold Fury at some point, and maybe just getting that blink out for Globe opens up an opportunity for Smoke Break to maybe not blow the game open, but at least go for a Gold Fury, start snowballing a little bit.
Maybe Valo has to also keep his tabs on that mid lane, knowing that Globe could be vulnerable to another gank. It does look like that Gold Fury will start using the Naga buff to help burst it down. Yeah, and Smoke Break. Elion's in the area, taking down wards. Gold Fury's losing a lot of health.
This is risky.
He's gonna drop it. They're gonna try to steal, and you can't unleash it now. Elion has it. Gonna drop it. It is Food Drive. Well, I gotta say you got lucky with that one because now Sap is killing you. Johnny comes down. You're in big trouble now. Invulnerability only lasts for a little bit. Globe somehow survives in the middle of the fray. How is he not dead?
Did Globe just do enough damage to scare them all away?
I think
he
so.
had no other burst available, and they all just booked it because their health bars got low. Globe used everything. Nothing else was available. I think if they just stick that fight, they could just kill 3-4 there.
I mean, when Ullr's stance switched, he even got him underneath the ice. He was slow. You don't have an Afro ult there. Echrome looked like he was about to go in again, but then everyone else disengaged. I almost felt like I'm right there with you. Why not just try to push the issue there?
No blink on
Didn't
Globe
win the Gold
either.
Fury either. So.
Yeah, lost Gold Fury. And that was a really risky play there by Food Drive for Globe. Naga is tanking it. You drop it, you step out of hit, it doesn't matter. Naga is still tanking it. It doesn't drop immediately, and then it just becomes a 50-50. They got it, so it's a good play. I mean, it doesn't matter. You win the coin flip. That's what you needed to do. But maybe a little risky, but realistically, if you have Globe with no blink, he doesn't have that survivability, you're probably losing Gold Fury soon anyway. Is that just like, we're going to lose this if we don't do it now? Let's just see if we can get it. If that's kind of in their mind, I like that call.
Food Drive didn't look like they got that blue buff steal. They'll pull out of it. Elion on that Yemoja too. I mean, there were so many things that could have gone wrong there. Like you all get stunned, and then it gets stolen out. Food Drive though, when you're pushed against the wall here, you have to start taking some risks to try to get an advantage.
Yeah, and they got a nice little lead right now. I mean, 1,000 gold at 10 minutes isn't anything to scoff about, but at least puts them into a spot where they have this little lead, especially after last game. They can breathe again a little bit, but we haven't really seen a ton of either of these solo lanes. Mulan is a second-time character. Last game, we really didn't see that much because the game was over at 19 minutes. And when we saw Karmic play as Hercules, it was another really good game by him. He was able to bully out that Raw in solo lane, is able to team fight really well. And they're both going to be required to build a lot of space for their team.
Sap wants to go in on it. It actually forces an early Afro wall. Happen. Just going to stick nice and clean. Want to make sure Globe is protected. Globe is having an easier time right now, not getting picked as easily as he was when he was on New One.
Yeah, and when you go to the point where Zeus is going to have the damage to threaten on dive, then it's a different story. He actually still doesn't even opt for Soul Gem. This is just full damage Zeus, no survivability. He is entirely reliant on Happen keeping him alive, but I mean, you have an Aphrodite. That's literally her job as a support character, is to keep you alive. But talking about solo lane, my issue with Mulan in a game like this is, yes, you have that all-in capabilities, but the kite potential for Crew Drive for Globe is insane. If you go too deep, Aphrodite ultimate is used, maybe she heals up the team, you're out of position then. Karmic has that safety of, I don't have to all-in. I can use my 2 to pluck you out of position. I can use my dash to get out of danger. I can also use my ultimate for that CC immunity. It's one of the reasons I think Mulan feels worse late game is that.
Trying to get this Pyromancer. It happens a little low. Actually going to get through it, but he took a ton of damage. Actually almost died, and the Lightning Storm came out just to zone.
What a weird play.
Crew Drive don't really get much done there.
And you're the one pulling that. You're the one trying to force it. Your solo laners aren't rotating over. But Happen didn't have ult there. You're calling that Gold Fury without Happen having ultimate. I'm a little worried that Crew Drive for Globe feels like they have to make plays. Now that's 2 times in a row where realistically they could have lost both of those objectives on Gold Fury and on that Pyro. They just kind of got maybe a little lucky on Gold Fury, but they lost Pyro and it wasn't really that close. I mean, you drop Yamoja ultimate to zone the Zeus. Happen doesn't have ultimate, so he's just nothing he can really do.
Well, Crew Drive, it's much better 13. At this point, 13 minutes in.
Much better.
There was almost a 10K gold lead for Smoke Break. It's a completely different look right now. Globe hasn't died, so that's a great start for him. And you're not seeing Karmic getting bullied out of lane either. Also kind of quiet over here since that first blood. Tegbeer just kind of farming it up. And there hasn't been much action between that Medusa and Ruler just yet. We've really just had a lot of focus on the mid lane Happen, sticking on Globe, and trying to keep Zeus fed, trying to get him online. Really just may come down to that. How much can you keep mentioning, right? How to enable all of that damage. Seems to be okay for now, but with the ult going Loki, Globe is forced out and everyone's gonna dive in on him. Globe tries to blink, but your eyes are gonna stay closed there. Johnny gets the kill.
And Johnny gets the Stampede popped on him by Elion, and then he's also got that threshold where he just sprints at you. Globe blinked, and no blink by Johnny. Johnny was just on him like that because of how much movement speed you get. And if Happen's not sitting with Globe 24/7, Johnny is just going to keep doing that. Sap is just going to keep doing that. That's the issue with Zeus, is if you leave him alone, if you don't give him a ton of peel, he's just somebody you can kill. I want to see Happen sitting in mid lane. Don't worry about Tegbeer. Tegbeer is safer by a mile than the Zeus is.
Karmic was actually bullying Johnny a little bit, which I did want to talk about the junglers too, because we talk about letting Johnny run riot on this Thanatos. If you stay ahead of Loki, it's going to be hard for Valo to actually get online. It's exactly what's happening again. He's 2-0, where Valo 0-1. You're not getting it done. You're behind in XP. You're behind in gold.
You want to talk about Johnny? I want to talk about Johnny. Johnny's switching up the jungle build quite a lot. We talked about it last game. You know, Void Shield, Binding, Oathsworn Sword. This game, double anti-heal. It's going to be dropping his damage quite a lot. Like, quite a lot. Johnny's going to be doing less. He will have, yes, more utility, more anti-heal, but it's really just one Aphrodite. I don't think I like the double anti-heal.
Hercules maybe as well might help.
Yeah, if Johnny's hitting Hercules, most of the time the fight's either won or Johnny's trolling. No real reason to be hitting the Hercules. Your focus is the backline. I don't mind one anti-heal item, maybe just the Brawlers, just the Ankh, but delaying your Binding, delaying your Void Shield, and then the Oathsworn Sword, I don't like that, or Oathsworn Spear. I want him to be able to do damage. And yes, I mean, he ran down the Zeus and killed him, but anybody can kill a Zeus when he's alone. If Happen's sitting here with him, you can't do it.
It's gonna be hard to do for sure, but Happen's actually in a little bit of trouble. Lightning Storm dropped down. This is the hovering death up. Voids every single bit of Yamoja AoE. That was actually some nice little footwork there from Happen.
Yeah, that movement speed, kind of juke around a little bit more. And that's probably something that's a little underrated for this Kiss combo with Globe, is Globe now has movement speed on that too. He's got that Gemma focused movement speed. He's also got Aphrodite movement speed. Maybe he can kind of keep pace with Johnny on the Phantom. I mean, you're gonna get a ton of movement speed there also, but we saw it kind of right there. I mean, yes, he was hitting the Afro more than the Zeus, but actually Johnny, not in good spot.
Oh no, you got caught and rooted and you're dead. Happen will get the kill, and Food Drive for Globe.
Your right tower
to figure it out. The Globe lead was to get away from them a little bit. They get a kill. Now they're on the Pyromancer.
Benko
Could
behind.
be contested here. Benko taking a
Globe.
look, but so is Zap, and oh my goodness. Globe just no chance to do anything. Got stunned down. Ekrom gets the kill, and now Food Drive are actually getting split across and turn tail on the run. Smoke break. We'll hope they can just get that kill and get out. No chance for them to take that Pyro. Food Drive have regrouped. Happen does a little bit
Benko
more
to hold
damage.
the block.
Hercules comes through. Karmic throws out the whole kit to make sure Benko dies.
And going back to the original one, Happen needs to stay kissed to Globe. Don't worry about Tech Fear. Globe is the one they're trying to kill. Yes, you get the trade here. Yes, you're probably getting Pyro, but now that's 2 times where Happen is not kissed with Globe, and Globe just gets dove. Protect your Zeus. If your Zeus is safe, he will carry team fights.
You said it yourself. Nobody building full damage. You're not giving yourself any utility. You have to support it. That is where the bulk of your team fight is going to be. But Food Drive, again, getting away with another one.
And even referenced the fight earlier than that one. Johnny's build, he's not tanky. The one Onk, you can kill him still very easily. You don't have the double defense. So if Johnny isn't killing, which he really can't do right now, he's also not able to live in a lot of fights. I don't like the build, and I'm very worried that around this point, maybe in 3-4 minutes also, when Globe gets his next item, Benko and Johnny won't be able to kill Globe. So unless Sap is just making a mastermind transform, a mastermind gank, you're gonna lose the fight.
That's why I'm kind of worried for Smoke Break when it comes to Karmic in particular on this Hercules. I mean, he just cleaned up Benko like it was no problem.
Yeah, and you can't kill Karmic. You don't have the mage to kill him. And Echrome needs probably 6 items, completely full build, to threaten the Hercules. So I'm worried right now for Smoke Break. Yes, you have the lead, but I'm really liking Food Drive's team fights. As long as this stays happening, Jorby, I do not want to see an Aphrodite kiss somebody else unless it's a heal and then immediately kiss back the Zeus.
Oh, look, Zeus isn't really known for his monogamy. And meanwhile, well, the Rock's going to help him get out of there. Happen will stick on him regardless. Oh, faithful.
That's what I want to see, actually. Karmic, that was close.
Lightning Storm will zone them out. Karmic had the driving strike down. Those cooldowns come up quickly.
Wait, Vallo?
Vallo is not going to avoid Johnny. Techveer kills Elion on the other side. Johnny's got to get back to this fight. Karmic just playing forward. He wants to brawl. And the rest of the team is going to come and follow him up. Karmic still chasing it down. Everyone just trying to split apart, seeing if they can catch Food Drive out. You got to be careful in your positioning. Globe is just dying off screen. Echrome still getting value elsewhere. Johnny's also going to fight. Food Drive for Globe. This is turning bad quick. Johnny kills Techfear. Food Drive have to leave, but they're still sticking around. There's nowhere for Happen to run. All you can do is die.
What are we doing? Drive for Globe. We have an entire good 5v5 team fight. Valor's looking for 1v1 against Echrome. Echrome one-shots him, and then Globe walks around the tier 2 and just gets one shot by Echrome also. Phenomenal play by Echrome. Phenomenal play by Smoke Break all around. And they get themselves a Fire Giant. And now this speeds up the game more. There was almost a break point for Food Drive for Globe to, you know, get one fight win and go for that Fire Giant. But unfortunately, now they're in a disastrous spot.
Fire Giant falls. Karmic came to take a look. But, you know, Echrome, he's been having a much better game, a much better day today. So let's take a look at that last one where he killed Globe.
And Globe pathing by himself. And again, did you see it? Not kissed with the Aphrodite, Jorby. Stop kissing other people.
There's a lesson. I guess that is the lesson, right? But I mean, Echrome, man, such a better game from him. They're not doing what they need to do. Like you said, Happen not sticking on Globe. And what has Globe done? Nothing. He's just died.
Kiss Globe!
Without Zeus, please kiss Globe. He needs it.
Your right tower is under attack.
Like, what? Again, okay. Is it that bad that he's not kissing Globe? Yes, it's that bad. The fights they lose are the fights that Globe gets picked because he doesn't have the survivability.
And why is Globe by himself, by the way, at all?
That is
why is he
very
not
true
with the rest
also.
of the team?
There is something to be said that maybe it's not all on Happen. Maybe he's not the one that isn't kissing Globe. Globe's maybe running away from him, pathing too far away from him. But something is wrong there. Again, referencing to something you said, this is a full damage Zeus. There's no survivability. You have Blink and that's it, and that doesn't matter against Johnny. Johnny will run you down. Globe needs to be with his support, and Tegvir is fine. Tegvir also needs to ult in team fights, because last fight he didn't even get his ult off, but that's just because the fight's over, because their Globe is dead.
And I mean, the big X factor for Food Drive has always been their jungler. And Valo is 3 levels down on Johnny, who's already level 20. 0-2, you're not getting the Valo low-key.
Also got picked last fight.
Just absolutely, like, no value anywhere for Food Drive for Globe.
Wait, they're
so much
slow.
better in the 10 minutes. Nope,
we're not here.
Where's the team? The Phoenix is under duress. You gotta get out here quick. Just got there in time, but
Zeus ult is forced just to slow down this siege, and this is, it's doing its job of slowing down the game, yes, but that's now no Zeus ult for the next 70, 80 seconds. You can now siege this tier 2 for 3. You have an 11,000 gold lead before getting a single other tower. This is very bad for Food Drive for Globe. At this point, the Zeus's damage isn't good enough to kill Benko. It's not good enough to probably even kill Elion because he's got the double magical defense. And yes, keeping Zeus alive, he can do a lot of damage pretty consistently, but it's worrisome.
now they're in some trouble. The new blood in SMITE 2. Everyone is wondering, can Food Drive for Globe go that distance and kind of be that changing of the guard?
Good bait.
They're running into some trouble right now. Rubenko and company.
Good
Smoke
block.
break, nice, but the Food Drive just couldn't get the driving strike through. It does force the beads out, but that's all you're gonna get.
And that's a good play by Karmic, getting the beads out from Ecrom. It makes the siege a lot more worrisome now. But Sap the entire time doesn't worry about the fight in middle. And I like that they're not playing this game to end the game now. They're just playing to get as much gold in their pocket as they can, because in SMITE 2, you've got 6 items in your starter. You're still going to be scaling. You have 6 items, or you have 5 items in your starter on Sap. Sap backs now, finishes that rod. Actually, he does have an anti-heal item also, but he will get another item to do a lot more damage. And you're now sitting at about almost an item everywhere difference. There's not he does just finish rod, which is a positive, but is he going to be able to kill Benko, Elion at this point? I'm worried that Benko's zoning potential right now, comboed with Johnny's execute, there's just not going to be anything Food Drive for Globe is going to be able to do if Smoke Break plays it right. Play around your Mojo.
And can Food Drive play around this Zeus? And they find a pick? At this point, you're hoping for a pick because you're just so far down. You almost don't even want a team fight with all that anti-heal. Karmic's not going to be as sustainable. Happen's not going to be as effective in keeping Globe alive anymore just because of that difference.
And now with that back, Sap has actually finished his Rod of Tahuti. So Sap's going to be kind of the playmaker, I think, at this point. He's going to be looking for the flank. He's going to be looking for Globe or Tegvir. And if Sap finds a good flank, which he's done now 2 or 3 times this game, Food Drive for Globe could lose the game off of it. This is a spot where Smoke Break has very easy end because there's no tier 2s available. They don't even need the Fire Giant if they get a pick or 2 because they have the Emoji, you have the sustain, and then you also have execute potential with Johnny on the Thana.
Johnny immediately forced out with the ult. Still, Smoke
Sap?
Break kind of like the fight. Sap does a ton of damage. It forces Globe out on the fight. Having to move back, Happen trying to keep people alive. Karmic trying to get back into the front line. Lightning Storm had zoned them out. He'll excavate a rock, but not do much for it.
Nice plug.
Will get stunned. Got a driving strike as well to get a little bit more damage, but they're not able to really find a pick and get on somebody. Petrified,
No
finds
way!
it! Tegvir found Echrome! That's a lot off the table for Smoke Break. Did they find the pick they needed?
And that's 2.
Whoa,
Sap's also down on the back line.
There's Valo, wondering where he could be. Johnny's right there. Valo certainly wants it, but you got to take your wins when you get them. Take the Fire Giant.
And now it's just an unreal play by Karmic. The spacing that he provides and the CC provides. The worry with Mulan is exactly that. She can't get out once she's already committed, and the team has to turn around to try and peel her out. Fire Giant goes over to Food Drive, getting them a possibility to just come back into this game. This is not a game-ending Fire Giant. This is by no means we are getting a Phoenix even. But you know what it does do?
It's a not losing Fire
Giant. You slow the game down. You allow your Zeus to get another item because if you do continuously get items on your Zeus, get items on your Medusa, and you saw how much damage that Medusa ult did to Ecrom. That did 700, and that's only 4 items on this Medusa. You want to just get a couple more items on your backline. You have a really, really beautiful front-to-back comp Food Drive for Globe, and you have the CC to accompany it with Karmic on this Hercules, which, by the way, Karmic is putting on a show with this Hercules. This is the second time we've seen him play it, and he's played it phenomenally. The spacing he provides, the setup he provides, it's a lot different than the Mulan. If you're playing Mulan and you're winning the game, you have really, really good kill potential. Hercules' damage is fine, but the setup for your Zeus, the setup for your Medusa, Karmic is doing it all right now. So I gotta shout out the frontliners when they're doing the dirty work.
Well, I mean, what was that 12K to a like 7K difference there? Look how quickly the chart has swung back up, but Food Drive still have a lot of work to do here. They still got some fight in them. They don't just lay over and die to this smoke break team. Finding a way to make this one competitive, there's a lot of work to do.
And I don't like how Smoke Break even engaged that last fight. You remember how it started, the Thanatos taking a ton of damage. Sap finds a lot of poke. At that point, if you just call it, that's a good trade. Your jungler just resets. I think it was whoever it was on Food Drive that got poked out. I think it was Tegvir resets also. And then you're just back at a 5v5. But Sap commits to it. He takes the fight and he goes all in, which baits Benko forward, which baits Elion forward and Ecrom forward, and then they lose the fight after. If you do get an unlucky trade, sure, who cares? Reset, we're still up 12,000. We don't have to take every fight, especially when you have that big of a lead. You dictate when you want to fight. I'm not loving, though, what Food Drive for Globe is doing here, where usually
you mean happen kissing Tegvir instead of Globe?
Actually, I forgot about that for a second, but yes, we need to see the kiss to Globe, but I don't like that they're not playing for tier 2s. They're just standing in a lane, allowing the farm to happen, to come to them. They're just kind of backing up, and they're not really cutting into this gold lead. If you just get this Fire Giant, and you don't really do anything with it, you're just back in the same spot where you're still down an item, and you're still on the back foot at Fire Giant. You have to get a tower or 2 to really slow this game down to get you a couple more items.
Now it's getting a little tighter. This next team fight, I mean, every team fight for Food Drive is important. Valo's got to be careful, though. Johnny chasing him down. Valo not going to have any assistance either. You run into Ecrom, you're forced to use your ult and your blink to get out. Ecrom going to abandon that chase. Johnny! Hovering death! Where's the death strike as well? Goodbye, Valo!
And Johnny finds the pick, and on the same time, they're going for that left side Phoenix.
Karmic trying to throw a rock into Smoke Break's problems here.
Sap!
Smoke Break aren't creating those problems. Sap keeps doing that work. River's Rebuke up to try to split them up, and it works. Karmic gets forced out of the rest of his team. Now he's got to catch back up. A lot of damage being done on the backline, though. He's just sitting there, and Tegvir gets the kill on Johnny. Karmic just that too. That's a double kill. They're gone. All of a sudden, Food Drive might have a Phoenix here.
And Tegvir is just doing so much damage at this point, and they're trying to deal with Karmic, and they can't kill him. They can't kill Karmic.
I mean, like, the River's Rebuke ended up, like, being what actually put Karmic in a perfect position. He's like, thanks. Now I'm back here, and I can just smack you all with my hammer, or with my club, whatever, and you're all dead. And Tegvir cleans it up so easily, and Food Drive now have an advantage.
And you're starting to see the issue with Morgan mid. If you can't kill on dive, you're not going to be able to do your job as a normal mid laner to kill frontliners. That's why I like this Hercules pick so much. Karmic is a menace right now. He is still full health. He really didn't drop low at all in that last fight. And Jorby, the worst part is, they started the game or that fight off with a pick. Valo was dead. And then they still ran that fight down, and they lost the 4v5. That's a disaster for Smoke Break. They do still keep their Phoenix up, but for Food Drive for Globe, Jorby, take a little look at that gold lead. They might be back.
That's crazy. 4K gold deficit now. But, you know, I just want to take a look at that team fight one last time on the replay as everybody gets reset here, because Food Drive right now putting together this comeback, trying to force game 3.
Kiss with the Aphrodite. So you're going to have to carry this team fight. If you're the one kissed to Afro, you are the hyper carry. And it was it Elion who overcommits to the fight? It was Benko. Benko is sitting in that. He's just taking a ton of damage in the entire.
Globe gets out.
Globe did live.
That's crazy.
look at that entire time. Johnny is the one that actually gets taking all that damage. I'm gonna go back to it. Johnny's build. He's just not in a spot where he can actually dive and eat all that Medusa damage. Yes, he can kill Loki in that 1v1, but that's a pretty easy matchup to win that 1v1.
Another dance around the Fire Giant begins. This one might be a Fire Giant that's a winning Fire Giant for Food Drive. But Elion stops him! And you're gonna run, Karmic! You're a
Trouble barely survived. Still alive, and Johnny executes him. Johnny tearing him up. A lot of damage forced out on the blink. Elion tried to save him, but Valo isn't going to let him live.
Wait, Sap is also low. No, he's going in. Is he going to find
Trying to
the
kill
back
him on
line?
the back end. Sap does kill Valo. He's gone. Also in some trouble back there. Smoke Break somehow survived that one. 3 dead for Food Drive for Globe and only 1 for Smoke Break.
I thought Valo was going to have another superhero effort on the back line. He does kill one. He does kill Johnny. Just barely. Sap gets out. Echrome also gets out. So close. And it was barely a team fight win by Smoke Break. And that's with them bursting Karmic. If they do have that capability to CC him, and Sap is able to put a few abilities in him, they can kill the Hercules. But that is like the disaster scenario.
They've started the Fire Giant. Smoke Break, you win that team fight. You take advantage of those respawn timers, and you knock it down. And now Food Drive get put right back in the back seat. And they find a way to fight their way back to the front. It'll be hard from here. They have already had everything pushed back. The Phoenixes are all exposed here. They're actually holding it here for the respawn.
Yeah, just trying to get it in Johnny's pocket also. And Johnny at this point should just split. He should force Valo to match him because Valo can't stop his split push. Even if Valo, all-ins and tries to burst, you just don't have the damage to kill Johnny, and Johnny can actually kill you. So I want to see Johnny opposite of the rest of the team, and then the other 4 just group around this Yemoja. It also will allow at least Valo or whoever matches Johnny. Wait. On the right side is Benko. Elion's forward by himself.
It might actually.
Talisman.
That's a
It's
lot
just
of
Talisman.
damage.
Actually, double actives there by Elion. They're forced into Xerxes Hexstone also, along with the Talisman. That Yemoja's a lot less safe. She does not have beads. So if Yemoja gets plucked by Hercules, if Yemoja, takes a kiss and does take a lot of damage, there is potential for Food Drive for Globe to win this team fight. Elion has to play a lot safer. Benko's gonna have to be the heavy frontliner for Smoke Break because he does have that beads. And he also does have the Talisman, so he's got 2 opportunities to beads the CC from Karmic. But Karmic in this fight should just be looking for a pluck onto somebody. He has to try to avoid the CC because now Echrome, full build. Echrome has that Heartsteel, the Heartseeker. He also does have that, I can't think of the item. Hydra's Lament. He has Hydra's also. He does have a lot of burst damage to commit onto Karmic with it. And we saw Karmic last fight get hit by a little CC and then takes a lot of burst, and a lot of that comes from Echrome.
This could be a final fight if Smoke Break play it well. They'll sit at the Phoenix, but Food Drive have set everything up. Everything is warded, making sure they have all the coverage. They know where everybody is for this last defense. This is their tournament life right now. And if they win this one, it's gonna be a game 3. They're not even out of it. Smoke Break, if they win this, gotta play another tonight. It's gonna be a long night either way. As Karmic sitting in front, he's played so well so far. Can he continue to be that front line? Happen getting stunned, but not enough burst damage onto Happen. This is gonna be sitting tall. That Phoenix isn't dropping quite yet. No one on Smoke Break willing to commit just yet. Excavate from Karmic. Karmic's willing to go in. Look at Valo, he's tearing him apart! Oh, with Valo, the damage isn't a question, it's a promise. Hovering Death is up, River's Rebuke is gone, Lightning Storm is gone. A lot of ultimates committed, but Smoke Breaker on the run.
And Karmic hits another pluck onto Sap, and you just can kill off of it, force out that beads, and you have that kill potential. Karmic again on this Herc.
They're running him down. Johnny's trying to run as well. We'll get a camp, but you better get back and defend your Phoenix quick. It's Karmic, he doesn't care, he's gonna blink right in. He wants to brawl. Got the driving strike into the wall. They'll keep on poking the wave down before they can finally get to the Phoenix.
Right Phoenix.
Karmic gets split off from the group. Has
Right
to get
Phoenix is
Reaper
dead.
quickly.
They lost their Phoenix.
And that's trouble because they get plucked out. And it gets immediately out. Is it enough? The Rock gonna do pretty much nothing, but you force a lot of utility out, and True Drive are gonna leave.
That's not, like you end up trying to push down middle, and your waves aren't pushed out. You lose your right Phoenix. And actually pluck into Karmic.
Karmic.
They can't kill
him. He got some of that healing back. He's just too big. Techfear says, huh, you can't kill? I'm going right in. Petrify as well. He gets knocked up. He gets deleted. Globe finally comes alive. Benko is gone. Everybody's running for their life. Karmic onto the Phoenix in the mid lane. Johnny in the back line.
They're still low.
Could find a pick over here. Techfear low as well. There are a potential pick opportunity for Johnny as Karmic runs. Happen trying to prevent the retreat. Echrome melts Karmic. That's a lot of frontline gone. Food Drive are in trouble. Here comes Johnny! Sap as well. Smoke Break, they can feel it. Hovering Death. He's gonna find them. Goodbye, Valo.
And that is it right there. Happen, the only one left alive. Ekrom's gonna be running him down, stopping that back. They can push through middle, smoke break, 2-0.
Oh, a killing spree for Ekrom, a deicide at the end. Beautiful. Well, how about that game two? How about that series here from Smoke Break? They'll go right through. They got a date with 5Ms in the lower bracket. Elion gonna sit inside the fountain and take a ton of damage here. Now all they gotta do is get the kill. Techfear will get that one for sure. But all those fire minions should be just enough. And inbound, what a game and what a statement here from Food Drive for Globe as it drops 2-0 for Smoke Break. EMEA. 2 teams alive in the tournament and only 1 left for North America.
And Johnny, really good game on that Thanatos again. Game 1, phenomenal game. Game 2, another really good one. But you know who's sticking out to me? After yesterday's games, Ekrom on this Uller just leveled up. He did what he needed to do. He was doing a lot in team fights, a lot of damage, and he was the one setting up fights with that axe and getting a lot of damage. And the only reason Karmic really wasn't able to run rampant is because there was enough damage threat from Ekrom. So you gotta shut out a player when he, is down after day 1, day 2, he steps up, and him and Johnny put the team on their back in that second game.
Really did. I mean, impressive stuff from Johnny too. Like,
you always can shout out Johnny.
I mean, he's
so
absolutely
good.
Insane. On that last team fight too, Karmic was doing so much, and then Tegveer went back. He didn't have a lot of health. Johnny was just sneaking into the back line. All of a sudden, there he goes. And Karmic just died out of nowhere. I mean, insane stuff at the end of that game. You thought Food Drive had it, but the new blood get taken down here in the lower bracket. But it's definitely not the last I think we'll see of those 5.
No, they're definitely going to be back. They had a really good tournament. They had a really good Atlanta LAN, and these are 5 really good players. It's unfortunate that their tournament ends here, but I mean, it was still very, very good of them.
Well, we've been yapping a lot, and I want to hear Gore and company yap on the desk. Guys, what you think of that one?
Oh, I think this one, phenomenal, right? You get a lot of back and forth. Of course, for Smoke Break and Smoke Break fans, probably ecstatic because they get the dub in the end, but even at the end there, Aggro, there's a point you just leaned back and you went, man, I love Hercules.
Dude, what is more satisfying than is watching a Herc do whatever he wants in a team fight? The displacement, the buying time, the knockup with the ultimate now. I mean, Karmic was so electric in that game, but then it got a little too electric, Lermy. I think that playing in front of the crowd, the energy, I don't know if Food Drive, if they're at home in front of their computers, chase it down mid with the double stampede. I think they probably stay at home a little bit more, defend that right side Phoenix, don't end up forcing an end game scenario, because it seemed pretty clear to me that Food Drive was going to end the game one way or another once they started running down mid.
Yeah, we were just kind of laughing about it, right? Double Stampede was very fun to watch them run it down, but like you were talking about, Hercules getting big with the passive, maybe a little bit too big for the britches there overall. It was a good game plan, but one without an out, you might even say.
Yeah, it was even something that, you could hear Inbound mentioning towards the end, where it's like, you're running this down, your base is fault, like you are taking damage in a danger zone back home. You just have to make something happen. And like you said, maybe it's you could hunker down and hold out, but they didn't.
And like also Inbound was saying on the end there, that you got to give credit to Ekrom, because we were roasting him a little bit after his performance yesterday, and deservedly so. But now you got to give him his flowers, because he played much, much better on the Uller this time around. Found that axe at the very end that turned it around, and he said it best. It was Johnny and Ekrom that I think really put the team on their back. Sap made a lot of really questionable decisions in the late game that kind of opened the door up for Food Drive, but Johnny just played so lights out, and then Ekrom hitting that clutch axe ends it for Food Drive.
And this is one of those moments, again, Hercules, like you can even see him in the back now, just driving how everything is going. It's just the response from the other side is maybe a little bit stronger. That was, again, another thing that was really fun to watch. Of course, I'm saying this as Johnny died in the replay, but it was watching the engage and the way that they took their positioning, used their ultimates to kind of get in there and to counter engage was just really, really impressive, especially after the Hercules would kick things off so strong.
And don't forget that this game was over 15 minutes in or 20 minutes in, right? Food Drive was down by like 12K gold, 19K or some absurd amount. and really clawed back into it because of a great fight where SAP overextended by their right side, their bottom right side. So it was really impressive what Food Drive was able to do. They said in their interview that they feel like they can always win, and I think that they really showed that they meant that wasn't just lip service, that they played as if they were still going to win that game, and they really had a chance to. I think that this is just the beginning for this squad. I'm excited to see how they grow as we continue in SMITE 2.
Yeah, that is, unfortunately for them, the end of their Founders Series run. So we say goodbye to Food Drive for Globe for this weekend. But like you said, the future on the horizon for them is incredibly exciting. Especially, I mean, the tenure, when you look at everything they've done. And it's always really weird because when you get to an event like this, when it's like, okay, you're now technically fourth. Like you were the third team out, but like there are 3 teams that played the same 6 months that worked just as hard. 3 of them were able to say, okay, well, we're better than them. Like that's grand scheme, the hundreds literally that we're playing. That's a damn good spot.
That's
to
not
be
bad.
in.
That's not bad.
Long tournament. It was a big tournament. Anybody everywhere could play. And to get to this point is a very impressive statement.
Yeah, I mean, essentially a 7 weeks of open bracket if you weren't in Swiss. And they were in Swiss, fighting against giants at the time. But again, we say goodbye to Smoke Break. We get to say hello to again, because guess what? They're going to be playing again. Another best of 3. And that is right. It's going to be back-to-back, going up against 5Ms, who played that best of 5 earlier. That's what's going to be coming up next. There's that question. You're coming off a 2-0 hot hands. You spent a little bit of time away, I guess, if you're 5Ms. Do you think that's... they probably aren't cooled down, because I assume they were back in the booth playing around. But
yeah, I don't know. I think if Smoke Break had closed out game 2 in 20 minutes, like it looked like they were going to, I would say I'd really favor Smoke Break. I think that because that game became pretty stressful towards the end, and because it became stressful quickly, that feels like a lot of emotional roller coaster that I think that I like 5Ms getting that mental reset a little bit more. The fact that it was a 2-0 certainly helps Smoke Break, though. I don't think they're in a bad spot.
Well, it's going to be fun to see, again, how they're going to tackle this, because this is a team, I feel, this is why I put my chips on them, the fact that they learn really well as tournaments progress. They see, hey, that worked there, that didn't work there, this works for them, let's play that then. And they adopt those strategies. So I'm really excited to see what they continue to do, especially as the opponents only get harder every single step of the way. You got your 2-0, but now we can find out what they're going to do, at least how they're feeling after that next one, maybe a little glimpse of how they're feeling for the next one. So we go down to the stage to talk to Ecro.
Echrome, after a big 2-0 win, standing by on the stage with me for the post-match interview. Echrome, felt like you were very comfortable in the 2 games this set. Do you feel like you personally played your best Smite in this set that you just played?
Maybe not my best Smite, but definitely a really good Smite. I've seen way more purple in my side this time, so that's always easier, right? So I just enjoy it.
I know you can see the sign out here. EMEA, Grand Canyon, NA, which of course we had to fly over to get out here. Trelly was wondering if it's a statement on geography, but now EMEA is 2-0 over NA today. Do you feel like you've made a statement now with the second EMEA win?
I hope so, because we just have to respect the prophecy. Team Risk against Smoke Break in the final again for the 15th time this year, maybe? I don't know. I stopped counting, actually.
The prophecy's undefeated so far, but to get to that prophecy, you're going to have to add one more for EMEA over 5Ms in our next matchup. Before we get to them, your thoughts on who maybe has an advantage here? You guys just got out of a 2-0 set. They played earlier on today. Do you like going into your next matchup a little bit warmed up?
It's a tough choice, but I think, yeah, it's better for us probably, because it was like a quick set. The first game was really quick, and yeah, we are just warmed up, so it's probably better for us, I think.
Your opponents on the other side will be 5Ms, a 2-game set. What do you got to do against 5Ms to make it to the grand final?
I don't know. I can't really tell much, but we're just gonna win.
Well, I know you and the team need to go discuss it. This has been Echrome, and we're going to be right back with the losers bracket finals. It's Smoke Break versus 5Ms.
I've been used by the useless. My whole body's covered in bruises. Consumed by the clueless. So full of lies and excuses. I've let you take enough from me. I'm jumping ship to watch you sink. When you look back and I'm still standing.